The CTE Career Ready Practice Standards have been available for about 8 years. And in 2021, CTE wanted us to really get active in doing this. So Jeremy Clausen and myself, we did about an 8-city statewide training for CTE Career Ready Practice Standards. And we trained a lot of you in on how to do this as far as admin setup, and then the actual action for the teachers to start scoring these career ready practice standards within their grade book. So this year we've done about 3 or 4 of these short little 1-hour sessions just for review. And we still have some schools that are kind of just jumping into this stuff. So we are just kind of continuing this support process to get you better used to this action of recording and grading the career ready practice standards in your CTE classes. Okay, so to get started, I want to make sure you all have this document to start. I emailed it out a couple different times to the group. It's a very helpful document for every admin people in the setup piece, which is what we're going to start with. And then of course, for you teachers that are in the room as well, how do I do this? How do I do this for a quarter? How do I do this for a semester? How do I do it week to week, day to day? I'm going to show you best practice, which is kind of a day-to-day approach, but quarterly and semesterally in this process works also. So make sure you have that document. We're going to start in that document on page 2. Okay, so on page 2, right in the middle, we're going to start a little bit of that conversation about which standards are we talking about. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing then, and then I'm going to jump over to my PowerSchool screen. Okay, so, and I resend it. You bet. I'll put it in the chat right here. I can't. I'm going to have to email it, so just give me a sec. So who asked for that? Let's see here in the chat. Kelsey and Kayla.
And actually, I could use one too. That's Janet. Janet
Okay.
Nelson.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Kelsey, are you at Williston Schools? Okay. And Kayla. And then Janet. Okay, it is off and away. Don't know how long it'll take you to get it, but it's coming. Okay, so let's move forward then. So I want you to look at page 2 if you have the doc. In the middle of page 2, it talks about the 5 standards as of 2023 fall that you need to be grading per semester per course to receive your Perkins financial support from the state of North Dakota. So for example, a little bit in my class, you're going to see I am a CTE teacher, and in my semester 1 CTE class, I have to make sure all of my students enrolled have those 5 standards of 1, 2, 4, 8, and 12 scored one time per semester. Okay, and I'm going to go through how to do that here in a little bit, but there are 12 big standards for the CTE. You only have to score CRP 1, act as a responsible citizen, CRP 2, apply appropriate academic and technical skills. CRP 4, communicating clearly. CRP 8, utilize critical thinking. And CRP 12, work productively in teams with competence. So those are the 5 that the state has decided to kind of get you kicked off and started in. The expectation is in a year down the road and 2 years down the road, you're going to have to be scoring all 12 within a semester. But they wanted to kind of baby step it and baby step you into the process. Okay, so let's go take a look at these standards quick and kind of talk about how this works and talk about admin setup. So the first thing I want to point out to you is the bottom of page 2. So in the class today, Jim from Wahpeton, you guys are set and ready. Williston, you guys are set and ready. We have courses attached to your standards. They should be showing in the teacher grade books. If you have a CTE teacher who says, hey, hold on, I don't see standards in my grade book, you got to let me know. And I'm going to show you how to find the course numbers and let me know. Janet, North Sargent, you guys aren't set up yet. So we're going to start from the bottom of page 2 and show you what you have to do to get set up, and I will help you finish it off as soon as you send me the data and the information. Okay. So step 1 in this whole process is you need to go to your high school, and this is only for those that have admin access. So Williston teachers, just bear with us for about 5 minutes, and then we'll get in the grade book here shortly. When you're at the high school, you've got to go to System Reports, Engine tab, Course Information for Power School. Okay. Now you're into this report, and Janet will show you one more time. System Reports, Engine tab, Course Information for PS. It could say Course Information, could say Course Information for PS, it could say Course Information for PS7. All of them are the same report. Okay. So when you see this report, you check whichever pieces you want. Credit hours, I usually do the excludes and include those. And then you're going to sort by course name, and then you submit that report. Now what this report does, refresh it to view. What this report does is it shows you right over here your Power School course numbers. Okay. So what you have to do with this is you have to get a Word doc out, a blank one, just like I have here. And you need to type in, comma separated, the course numbers of all the courses that you want your standards attached to. So in Power School, we take the standards list, and there's a field in there for course numbers. We put your course numbers in there, and then the standard shows up in the gradebook automatically as soon as we submit. Okay, so it's pretty slick. So if we look at my list here, I'm going to start with number 1, accounting, comma, and then I'm going to go to 16611, comma, and you notice I'm not doing any spaces, right? And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, comma, because my accounting 10, accounting 1, accounting 2, accounting 3, those are all CTE courses. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm only going to do my CTE courses. So then continuing, then I do 4, 5, 6, 6, 6. Then I'd skip down probably to my ag classes here, 16. Right? So I'm just going to make a paragraph of all the course numbers. When I have that done, I save that, save it to my desktop, send Rob an email, and I will upload them and attach them in a quick, fast hurry for you. Okay, so Janet in the room is the only one that needs to do this process. Williston's is done. Wahpeton's is done. Rugby, who's not here, who says they were going to be, is done as well. Okay, so if you have a course missing, for example, in our room right now, we have a bunch of teachers from Williston, and they're saying, hey, I have a course, but I have no standards showing up in my grade book. I need to know those as well. So how do I do that? Same thing, go run the report, find the course name, find the course number, pop me an email and say, Rob, we need to add this course number. And I will include the current paragraph that you already have in there. I don't want you to go in and try to add anything without my help because we've had plenty of mistakes with people trying to do that. Okay. So that's kind of the admin and setup piece. Glenn, go ahead. Question.
Uh, Rob, I think Jim Green's from Watford City. I think you've been interchanging Wapaton and Watford City. Have you? You meant Jim in Watford City, right? Doesn't need to do anything.
Well, in his sign up, according to the workshop, it says Wapaton Middle School.
Yeah.
I know. I've been trying to update that. Actually, it was just as you said, Wapaton. I tried to log in to the EduTech training registration.
Yeah.
And click on that link, and it won't load for me. So it says you can use the EduTech user profile change.
Yeah.
And I click on it, and it just loads and loads. So
this is the famous husband to Noel. I know Noel really well. I don't know Jim as much. Welcome, Jim. So yeah, Wofford City, same thing. Wofford City is actually one of our statewide leaders in this. They're doing some really cool things with CTE. So Jim, yours is good as well. It's just the same process. Wofford City, Williston, Rugby. If you're missing a course, you just got to let us know. Pop me an email, say, Rob, here's the course number of the missing course. And please understand, it's not the state course code number. It is the Power School course number that you have to find and send me. And this is the report that you use to do that. Okay. So any questions, Janet, Jim, Patty, anybody else in the room? Kayla? We good?
Well, I guess I'm not even sure what to ask. So I got to give you my background. I'm teaching just one class at North Sargent.
Okay.
Hired right the day before school started.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out Power School in general. So
okay. Well, we're going to show you the teacher part here shortly, but you, Janet, you need to go talk to your administrators, and I think it's Adam for you at North Sargent. Yep. So Adam.
Okay, so we're not set up because I did actually just talk to him this morning, and he said that he met with you last November, and he thought they were all.
Well, let's go look. I don't have them marked off, but it's just amazing. I can just drive out to North Sargent here real quick, and we'll see if you got standard courses in there. So, and you'll know that in a short second, Janet, when we log into your grade book as well. You'll be able to see if you see the standards or not. But let's go look.
And Janet, while Rob is looking at that, just a note, if you go to EduTech's website, up in the top center, you'll see where there's a YouTube symbol up there, icon. Rob's done a couple videos on grade books, standards grade book and traditional grade book. Go ahead and view those also. You'll find those helpful if you're new to the grade book. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So Janet, yes, you do have them there as well. So we have a bunch of courses. You see these right here. This is exactly what I was talking about. They're set up and ready to go as well. Okay.
Okay, good.
We just have to know if you're missing any today when you go in there. Okay. Okay. So that's going to save us a little time, and we can move right forward then to the actual gradebook action. Okay. So I'm going to log out of my admin side, and I want all of you to go ahead and jump in to the gradebook with me here then, if you have a computer with you. If not, take good notes, watch carefully. And remember, this is on YouTube for you to watch, okay? So when you jump into the gradebook, click your Power Teacher Pro, and it's going to take you into the gradebook. And for you guys, there's really not a lot of difference to anything you're doing. You continue to do your percentages and your points, and you're doing your assignments and activities out of 50 points, out of 75 points, out of 100 points, just the same way you always have. You just have to make sure within a quarter, once or twice, within a semester, once or twice, on an assignment, you add standards and score them a few times a term. Okay. So I'm going to jump into my airplane mechanics section, and I want to show you your list of standards first. Okay. So all I did was click on progress and standards, and it doesn't really matter what term you're in. I'm going to go to S1 for right now. The list is the same. So here's what I was talking about. Here's your CRP.1. That's one of the 5 you have to score. CRP 1, 2, 4, 8, and 12. Okay, so you need to score those 5 standards once or twice or as many times as you want to during a term. Now let's just go back to CRP.1 and kind of look at how this looks, okay? Now you can see on CRP1, there's a little gear here, okay? That's a top level skill. Under CRP1 is 12 descriptors or definitions of acting as a responsible citizen. So it makes it really easy for you in your grade book because you don't have to figure out what it's like to act as a responsible citizen. You can use any of these descriptors to score them, to score that skill. So for example, I'm doing an activity in my room and I want to evaluate, maybe it's a 2-day project. I want to evaluate their time management to get the project done on time. I'm giving you 55 minutes on Tuesday and 55 minutes on Wednesday. It's due at the end of class Wednesday. Did you manage your time in the activity? Let's say it's worth 100 points. Well, time management and work is the standard you'd attach to that assignment. You score your points, give them 85 out of 100, and then you go to the standards section of the scores table and you score it 4, 3, 2, or 1. If they met your expectation, it's a 3. If they didn't, it's a 2. Okay, that's how you look at this stuff, and you can see my grade scale popped up right there for you to see. That's how simple this is. You don't have to score the big skill ever. You just score the little lower skills underneath, and every time you score a lower skill underneath, it pulls a score for your big skill that's going to report on to the state, which means you get your Perkins funding. And for you guys, you just have to make sure you include 1 or 2 of these little skills under each of those big ones. So for example, here's a great one. Apply appropriate academic and technical skills. Guys, you do some writing, reflecting on almost everything you do. You do problem solving and critical thinking all the time. You use resources to complete work. If I'm in a construction class and I'm building a house, I'm using tools to build that house. Am I using the tools correctly? Easy to grade, easy to do that. Using past knowledge, we do that all the time. Glenn was an ag teacher. Ag 2 matters if you remember ag 1, right? What you learn from ag 1 carries over into ag 2. So all of that stuff really matters. And each standard is that way. Communication, there's 7 skills that you score underneath that. CRP 8, critical thinking skills. There's 9 things under there that you can score that feed up to that. So it's very easy in an assignment to think about, well, which one am I going to use? I don't really know what critical thinking and perseverance and solving problems looks like. Well, it's reasoning skills. It's using information. It's understanding the system, which is super important for CTE classes. It's seeking solutions. It's learning mistakes and successes, learning from mistakes and successes. Those are the things you actually attach and score in your grade book. Okay, does that make sense? Are there any questions on that before I jump into the next piece? Okay, we're doing okay. All right, so the first thing I want you to check in your grade book is your settings and your standard grade calculations. Okay, so it should pop up in the class that you chose in the top. I chose airplane mechanics, so it pops up and it shows it's going to score the most recent 3 scores and the average of them. So let's say in a semester, I attach problem solving to 8 assignments. All 8 scores don't count. The first 5 are documentation, only the last 3 do. Right? So we want, in theory, we want them to get better at problem solving in my first semester of airplane mechanics. I want them to see a problem and solve it by themselves. I don't want to hire somebody that I got to help solve every problem. I want them to take on a problem and solve it. That's a good employee, right? So same thing here. In a semester, maybe they struggle a little bit with problem solving at the beginning of the term, but we give them 8 chances. And by the time we get to the last 3, they get a 2 and 2 3s. They're going to be proficient on that skill, which is going to feed up to the CRP high level skill above it. Okay, so just understand that's how it works. It's different than traditional grades where we put everything in the grade book and everything counts for or against. That's not how standards work. Only the last 3 scores count. If you only do a score 1 time, then it's going to use that score. If you only do a standard score 2 times, then it's going to average those 2 scores. But if you go 3 or more, now it's most recent 3 that count. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So then the other piece I want you to do is settings and display settings. And when you're in your display settings, and all of you should make sure you check this, we want to check your standards usage is turned on. Okay, so there's a standards usage section. I want all 4 boxes checked. New assignment start unchecked. And navigation link sort order should be standards, then traditional. And then if you save that, it does it for all of your classes. So only have to set it once, push save, and now your standards are turned on and ready to use. Okay, so I'll show that again. Settings, display settings, and it's scroll down to the middle of the page. It's standards usage, and it's got to look just like this. And if you have that document, there's a picture of that, I believe on, let's see, page 6. There's a picture of that on page 6 for you. Okay, to make sure everything's set correctly and ready to go. Okay. All right. Now let's go look at how we score assignments. Okay, so a little different than working with standards grades. If you go A+ grading score sheet, you're going to see your scored traditional grades with your percentages and points. For standards, I want you to go A+ grading and assignment list. Okay. But before we go too far with that, I want us to go look at our categories. So it's A+ grading categories. Now for your categories, when you click there, you guys are going to see project, classwork, test, and quiz. Those should have little houses next to them. Categories are important in standards because they help me save time when I'm working with assignments. That's always kind of the issue with teachers is they feel like I don't have time to do all of this. So I'm giving you some tips and tricks to save yourself a little bit of time. Okay, so what I do to save time is I edit my category. So for project, I click on the pencil. I go to assignment defaults and I set all my assignments to 0 points and I check the box to count. And then I save. So every time I use project, it will turn my assignment to 0 points instead of 10, which is the default. And I start everything from 0 because I'm going to change it to 75 anyway. Or in theory, I could do an assignment with just standards and it won't count for my traditional grade. So I could do an activity or a project or a test or some classwork, and all we're going to do is evaluate some of these CTE standards. We're not going to have it count for in our points or percentages. Now you have the flexibility to do both things. Okay, so I'll show that again. Go to classwork, click on the pencil, click on assignment defaults, change your set it to points and 0 and check the box and save. So every time I create an assignment, it will automatically default to 0 points for me, so I don't even have to spend time on that. And you'll see how that works here in a short little bit. Okay. All right, so now let's go take a look at an assignment. So I'm at A+ grading assignment list, and I have a bunch of assignments selected here. And you can see some say 10 out of 10. Some say 0 out of 10. 10 out of 10 means with points, I scored them. 0 out of 10 means it has points attached and I didn't score, or in this case, like week number 4, there's a 0 out of 10. I might have scored it because it's 0 points. It might just be standards. So it's important to understand what you're looking at here. Okay, so let's go look at that assignment and let's go see how I built this one. Okay, so this is a week 4 classwork activity in my airplane mechanics class. I gave it a title. I assigned the category of classwork, and you can see it assigns 0 points for me and checks the box. Then I go to the Students tab. I go click Show All, and I have the option. I can give an assignment just for certain kids that need something checked. Like maybe they're struggling with organization, or maybe they're struggling with time management that we used earlier. And I'm going to do an activity just for them, and they're going to practice time management. So I could deselect kids here if I want to. In my case, for this assignment, all kids were assigned. And then the third tab on top is standards. Here's all those standards we looked at before. Remember those CRP ones with the little gear flowing up? There's the 2s, there's the 4s. Now, instead of scoring through all these, maybe I know this is a CRP.8. I can type it into the filter. It pulls up my 8s. And now I want to add seeking solutions and understanding the system. Save and close. And it added those 2 standards for me right on the end. Now I've already done this assignment and I've scored time management at work, and I've scored inspiring others through selflessness. And remember, let's go back and look at this assignment again. Let's see here. It's 0 points, right? So if it's 0 points, I'm not scoring points in that first column like you guys are used to. But I could do points and standards. We'll do that one next. But in this case, I have time management and work. We scored that already. I have inspiring others through selflessness. We have that already. I've now attached understanding the system, and I've attached seeking solutions. So an experienced teacher in standards would probably screenshot this page, right like so, place it on their clipboard, and walk around while kids are working on their projects and score kids on a piece of paper in their clipboard. And then they'd come sit down quickly after the class is over, and they'd say, oh, for understanding the system, most kids were a 2. They'd click a 2, they'd use the quick fill button, quick fill them, and then go back and give the 3s to the couple kids that needed a 3. Or they can go to seeking solutions. Most kids were proficient on that. So we're just going to put a 3 in, quick fill that, and then change the couple of kids that were 2s, and boom, I'm done scoring it. It's just not a very long process. You just got to have a plan on how you're going to go about that. If you have the assignment created already, easy and simple. And remember, the minimum expectation is you need to score CRP1 once, CRP2 once, CRP4, 8, and 12 once. In this case, I've scored CRP1 twice and CRP8 twice on one assignment. So this is just not a hard thing for you to do once or twice or a few times during a semester. Okay, so then I save those scores and I go back to my assignment list, and I'll create another one from scratch here after to see if there's any questions so far. How we doing?
Good.
Okay, go ahead. Nobody? We're good? Okay. All right, so I'm going to create one from scratch, okay? So I'll stay A+ grading. How do I do this from scratch? There's a little plus sign right up here in the top right corner. So I'm going to click on plus, create an assignment, and we'll call this CTE CRP Teams Practice number 2. Category, we'll say this is a project. Now notice when I assign that project, it assigns 0 points for me right away. Now I'm going to say this is a 100-point assignment. Okay, we're given points. It's a project. I've given them the expectations. In order to receive 100 points, this is what you have to do to receive 100 points. Okay. Next thing I do, go to the students tab. Is it for all kids in my room? For airplane mechanics, it is. It's for all kids in my room. And then I go to the standards tab and I'm going to say, I want to work in CRP.2 today. Okay. We're going to have a little writing as a part of this project. And we're going to have some problem solving and critical thinking as a part of this project. Okay, they're part of my points, but I'm going to evaluate those separately for just the skill. What do I expect to see in a writing? I've laid that out to the kids. I've told them at the end, I want you to write a summary paragraph of your experience. Give me an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Make sure you explain to me from start to finish your experience. That would be a 3. If they didn't do all that, they get a 2, right? Problem solving, critical thinking. As you work through this 100-point project, there's going to be 3 times you've got to make a decision. In those 3 times, I'm going to watch you in your problem solving and your critical thinking and what decision you make and why you make that decision. If you make the correct decision that helps you move forward in the project, you get a 3. If you struggle with that decision, you get a 2. And we'll give you another chance as we move forward. Okay, so we save and close, and then we score assignment. Now remember, in this case, this is what I would do. I would take a screenshot of this, like so. I'd put it on my clipboard. Not for the points so much, but for the standards. Because as they're working through this, I need to see how they're doing in that writing piece. I need to see how they're doing in their problem solving, critical thinking. That's probably the most important piece that I'm observing as they're working. Okay. Most kids were a 2, so I'm just going to quick fill that, and I'm going to give Audrey a 3, and I'm going to give Michaela a 3 on that. In their writing, this might be collected as a part of their project, so I might fill those individually because I do have their writing in front of me. Okay, so I can do it that way as well. And I just kind of teach, score the standards first. It's easier that way. You've done points forever. That's easy for you, but score the standards first, get them out of the way, make sure you clearly understand how you're scoring those. And then we're going to go score the points, and then we're going to do that just like we did before. And we're going to give kids their points just as we always have. Okay. These kids did pretty well on this project. It was a fun project. They worked really hard. Whoops. Continue editing. That's the bad number. Okay. So I'm just going to finish those up. And understand now, what I scored those standards doesn't impact their traditional grade at all. It's 2 different worlds. They're getting a most recent 3 score on writing. They're getting a most recent 3 score on problem solving and critical thinking. And remember, because they are CRP2s, they're getting a most recent 3 score on CRP.2, which is applying appropriate academic and technical skills. And that checks the box for your Perkins money. Okay. And oh, by the way, they're getting 100 points or so towards their ABCD grade for semester 1. 2 separate things. So PowerSchool is doing an amazing thing. It's giving you an evaluation on all your standards, all your CTE skills, and you're letting all your students know if they're career ready or not. And you're also scoring them with percentages and points just like you always have. So then I save those scores. And I'm done with CRP2 for the quarter or the semester, but I can continue to do it as many times as I want to. So best practice in this would be, guys, just once in a while when you're doing projects and class work, attach some standards and score them because you're really using these to score all the time. The CTE standards are really good skills, and they're skills you want your kids to get better at. Just once in a while, attach some and you'll cover yourself way better than the minimum, which is 1 time a term. Okay. So then if I go back to my score sheet, that assignment that was created today, CRT CRP teams, counts in the course grade, but it also counts in my standards evaluation. You'll see under CRP.2 now, I have a couple more scores, and we did problem solving and critical thinking. There's 6 of those now, and we did the writing skills, and there's 3 of those now. So it continues to do a calculation on standards and how they're doing on standards, and it's also giving me a score in my score sheet for an ABCD. Okay.
Rob, we have a question here. Patty is wondering if you can have a standard as the assignment.
Absolutely. Yep. So I can show that example. To me, that would be a 0 points assignment. Okay. Let's say this week in my class in airplane mechanics, we're working on time management. Okay. So I'm going to create an assignment. Everybody knows, maybe I posted it when I was a principal. My teachers posted their standards they were focused on. Time management in work. Okay, that's the name of my assignment. Now I can't use that name again. If I do time management again, it's going to be time management in work 2. If I use it a third time, it's going to be time management in work 3, right? I would have to do that because I can't repeat the name of an assignment. The category would be, in my case, observation. That's why I built some extra categories. I would be observing my students working in the classroom, using their time wisely. Okay. I would make sure I let it assign 0 points because I only want standards, and I'm going to assign the time management standard. I'm going to save and close. I'm going to watch kids work all week. And at the end of the week, I'm going to assess a score based on what my expectation was. And you have to tell kids what you're expecting to see. That's a 3. A 3 is your expectation. So you got to let them know, guys, this is what I want to see in my airplane mechanics class with time management this week. And I'm watching you work all week, and I'll be giving you feedback, and I'll be coming around watching you work, and I'll doing an observation, and I will be talking to you about this skill. And I want you to get better at this throughout the whole week. And I'm giving you 1 score for the week. Boom, done. Yes, Patty, that would be a great way to do it. And now I've got another CRP1 evaluation. Right? In Jamestown, she is challenging her CTE teachers to focus on 5 standards, 1 from each of the categories, and saying in semester 1, just teach these. Just really focus on these 5 skills. Teach them all the time. Talk about it all the time. Do it in all your activities. Coach them up on it. And they, as a team, as a CTE team, chose which of those 5, and for second semester they're going to do a different 5. So she's just trying to get teachers to start thinking about standards, and if we cover 10 standards a year, we're good, because now we're really good with 10 standards. Next year we'll add 10 more. So that's just a good way to think about it. Don't try to score them all, but there are some that you're going to use a lot, and just score those and get comfortable with those. Patty, does that answer your question? Good. Okay, so I wanted to show you what you've done here then. So if you go to progress and standards, you've done an evaluation, and it shows you how many times you've scored each skill over on the right side. So you don't have to wonder if you've met the minimum expectation. How many times did I do CRP.1? 2. How many times did I do CRP.2? 2. What's my minimum expectation? 1. You're doing good. CRP.4, 2. CRP.8. How many times did I do that? 2. I'm good. CRP.12. Let me go check that. 2. I'm good. I covered my whole semester. And oh, by the way, I can dive deeper into these if I want to. If I really want to work with my kids and communicate, and this is some of the stuff that Wofford is starting to do. Time management and work we've talked about today. If I click on there, it shows me which kids are proficient at it and which kids are not. And that should fit with what I think as a professional in the room. Is this what they've been really showing me? That Mari, Brooke, Call, Michaela, Richard, and Jonah, they're doing some good things, but they're not quite there yet. And Audrey, Taylor, Angelica, and Seth, they've managed their time really well. This is really good information. You're helping prepare your students to get a job right out of high school or right out of college. All these skills you're helping develop are going to pay off later. Okay. Here's the other piece. If you click students and you just make sure you have one selected and you click standards progress, now you have the same summary. Here's their current most recent 3 grade. And for you guys, I would only worry about S1. And if I change my view to medium, I also get a little sheet. And if I click on that sheet for time management, it shows me, let's put a 1 in there because I missed one, save. It shows me their most recent 3 calculation. And if I keep scoring it, number 5, number 6, number 7, notice the last 3 are green. It's using the last 3 for the calculation, and it'll just continue to build on itself all semester. And you know this about every skill. So if we go to problem solving and critical thinking, we're getting the same thing. I've scored that 6 times. Here's the 6 scores. Only the most recent 3 are pulling. Now you're going to say, hold on a second. 3, 2, and 2, and it gives them a 3. Yeah, we have set up the grade scale to give the student the benefit of the doubt. So in the last 3, if they have a 1, 1, 2, they're going to get a 2. If they have a 2, 2, 3, they're going to get a 3. It's going to be right on the number. We're always pushing kids up. Now for the 4, you got to have 3 4s to get a 4. If it's a 4, 4, 3, they're also going to get a 3. Okay. And honestly, what they're looking for from you from the state is a 3. They want kids proficient, but don't give it to them until they earn it. Okay. Did I see another question pop in there, Glenn?
Yes, you have one. What standards are required to be assessed this year?
1, 2, 4, 8, and 12. That's it. The big skill. So remember our list here. Here's CRP.1. Under CRP.1 are 12 little skills. Okay, let's go back to a small view here. 12 little skills. If I score time management once, I scored the big skill once. If I score time management, responsibility, leadership, understanding the system 8 times, I've scored the big skill 8 times. Okay, because it feeds up to the big skill. But you need to score 1, 2, 4, 8, and 12. And that's on page 2 in the doc. It's right there listed on page 2. You just have to highlight it right in the middle. And keep in mind what I told you at the beginning, guys. I'm trying to save you some stress moving forward. In 2 years, you're going to be asked to score all 12. They were going to do it this year, but they're baby stepping it. So the more you score and the more you get used to this, the easier it's going to be to transition into all 12. In North Dakota, all 12 are believed to be important. To be career ready, you have to be proficient 1 through 12. Right now, they're just doing baby steps with you. Okay. Other questions about how to use this gradebook, guys? I can show you multiple things again if you want, but those are the key features to this. That's how simple it is. I think the hardest part is to just change your thinking a little bit, not just do points. When you do points and projects, I mean, Glenn and I have talked about this. He's an ag teacher. It was all about projects. It was all about hands-on. That's why it's so easy to do standards in CTE. It's all project based. You're trying to complete something. And when you're trying to complete something, you're trying to motivate the student to take things seriously. Well, the things you want them to take seriously are the CTE standards built by CTE teachers in the state of North Dakota. We're really awesome people. They built this list of 144 skills. If my student can do these 144 skills, they're now career ready. RDO should call them. They're ready to go to work. Put them to work. Go ahead, Janet.
Oh, I was just laughing at your comment.
Well, that's the idea, right? That's the theory, is that's our job. And North Dakota believes this. We want a way to say the kids coming out of Jamestown are equal with the kids coming out of North Sargent. And the way to evaluate that is these standards. If you evaluate your kids with these skills, they have the same chance of the kids Jim sending out of Watford City and Kelsey sending out of Williston. Just get them ready to do these things and they'll be ready to get a job and have an important role in our society and carry their weight, right? Okay,
Super
other
helpful.
questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. And I'm here. Pop me an email. It's robert.schaefer@k12.nd.us. You all got some emails from me. You have them. As you're going through this with questions, Rob, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, how many times can I do this? Can you show me how to make this simple and easy? I'll show you anything. One of the cool tools I use that I didn't show you, after you do this year one, you can copy your assignments year two. And so you're using those same standard assignments. They're copied and ready into your assess semester one for next year, and you just use them. Now you don't have to create assignments from scratch anymore. Another cool tool. It's also in the document there for you, how to do that.
Great.
Okay. Any questions from Williston, Watford? Jen, welcome to the group, and Janet. Okay, so Jen, can you hang on with me a little bit at the end? I want to show you how to look at stuff with course numbers. You missed that part at the beginning. Everybody else kind of saw that, and I think we're good to go then if there's not any other questions. Okay, guys, it's Monday. Have a great afternoon. You got back to work tomorrow. Have a great day. Glenn, thank you for recording that.
You bet.
Thanks
Good
very
job,
much.
Rob.
Thank you. And then just pop that to me. And Jen, just hang on a second. I want to show you some things from rugby's perspective.
And just a reminder to everyone, if you want to see this again, if you're thinking, well, geez, I might have missed something, in maybe about a week's time, I'm guessing it'll take for the communications team to get this up on our website, but it'll be there and you can watch it again. So thank you much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Jennifer, are you an admin for rugby?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys have to get your course numbers to me.